She was 7 months pregnant, standing in her bedroom doorway, watching her husband take the only warm coat she owned. He didn't ask, he didn't explain, he just took it. That gray cashmere coat was a gift from his own father, custom made in Milan. Her name embroidered inside in golden thread. It was more than fabric. It was belonging. It was family. It was love. But Derek Weston didn't care about any of them. He gave that coat to another woman, his mistress, the woman he had been sleeping with for 9 months.
This is entirely
the woman
your
he chose over his
responsibility,
pregnant
Derek.
wife. And when Claire's car
You
broke
can't
down in a
blame
blizzard,
me for this.
when she had no choice but to walk
absolutely
12 blocks
can.
through 18-degree weather, when she collapsed in the snow and nearly lost her baby, Derek had blocked her number. But here's what he didn't expect. His own father was watching. And what happened next? It destroyed everything Derek thought he had. This is a story about betrayal, about survival, about a woman who lost everything and built something better from the ashes. Stay with me until the end, because the moment his father discovers the truth, you won't want to miss it. The closet door slammed. Claire's heart stopped. She stood frozen in the bedroom doorway. Her hand rested on her swollen belly. 7 months pregnant. The baby kicked once, twice, as if sensing her sudden stillness. Derek moved through her closet with purpose. His movements were sharp, deliberate. He pushed aside her dresses, her blouses, her sweaters she could no longer wear. Then his hand landed on the dove-gray cashmere. Claire's breath caught. That coat, that beautiful, impossibly soft coat. Harold had given it to her on her first Christmas as a Weston, custom made by a tailor in Milan, her name embroidered inside in delicate gold thread. Claire Elizabeth Weston. "Where are you going?" she asked. Derek didn't turn around. He pulled the coat from its hanger. The cashmere caught the lamplight, soft as clouds, warm as an embrace. "Business dinner," he said. His voice was flat, distracted. "That's my coat. You're not going anywhere." Now he looked at her. His eyes moved over her body, over the pregnancy that had changed everything. "The baby makes you tired. You should rest." Claire opened her mouth to argue, but Derek was already moving past her. The coat draped over his arm like a trophy, like something that belonged to him. The front door opened. Cold January air rushed in. Claire felt it even from the bedroom. 17-degree outside. A Boston winter at its cruelest. The door closed. The sound echoed through their penthouse, through the home they had built together over 5 years of marriage. Claire walked to the window. Her reflection stared back at her, pale, tired. The dark circles under her eyes had become permanent residents. Growing a life inside her body was exhausting work. But it wasn't just the pregnancy weighing on her. Something was wrong. Had been wrong for months now. Derek's car pulled out of the parking garage below. Silver Mercedes, a gift from his father when he became CEO of Weston Industries 3 years ago. Claire watched the taillights disappear into the winter darkness. She picked up her phone. Her fingers moved on instinct. The family calendar app. Derek insisted they share everything. Appointments, meetings, dinner reservations. No business dinner listed. Claire stared at the empty calendar block. 7 p.m. to question mark. Nothing scheduled, nothing planned. Her hands moved before her brain could catch up. She walked to the closet, pulled out the only other coat she had, a thin wool pea coat from before the pregnancy. Navy blue, professional, completely inadequate for a January night in Boston. The buttons strained across her belly. She could barely close the front. The baby shifted, uncomfortable, protesting. "I know," Claire whispered. "I know, sweetheart, but Mama needs to see something." Her keys were by the door. Her car was in the garage. The elevator ride down took 17 seconds. She counted every one. The cold hit her like a physical blow when she stepped outside. The peacoat might as well have been made of paper. The wind cut through the thin wool, found every gap, every opening. Claire got in her car, started the engine, turned the heat to maximum. Then she followed her husband into the night. Derek's Mercedes was easy to spot, silver and sleek among the darker sedans. He took Beacon Street toward downtown. Claire stayed 3 cars behind, her heart hammered against her ribs. This was crazy. This was paranoid. This was exactly the kind of behavior he accused her of when she asked too many questions. But she couldn't stop. Derek pulled into the valet lane at the Sinclair. Claire's stomach dropped. The Sinclair, the restaurant where he had proposed, where he had gotten down on one knee and promised her forever. She found street parking a block away, killed the engine, watched. Derek handed his keys to the valet. He stood at the entrance, waiting, checking his phone. A woman emerged from the lobby, tall, dark hair styled in perfect waves, red dress visible beneath an open coat, a gray cashmere coat that Claire knew intimately, that she had worn 100 times, that had her name embroidered inside. Derek kissed her, not a polite kiss, not a greeting between colleagues. This was the kind of kiss he used to give Claire. Deep, intimate, the kind that promised more to come. Claire couldn't breathe. The baby kicked hard, once, twice, 3 times, as if demanding attention, as if saying, "Pay attention to me instead." Her phone buzzed. The screen lit up in the darkness. Derek's name, Derek's message. "Meeting running late. Don't wait up. Love you. Love you." The words blurred as tears filled her eyes. Love you while his lips were on another woman's mouth. Love you while another woman wore Claire's coat. She sat in her car. Engine off, hands gripping the steering wheel until her knuckles turned white. The cold seeped in through the windows, through the doors, through the inadequate wool of her peacoat. She didn't move, didn't cry. Not yet. She just stared at the restaurant entrance, at the place where her marriage had begun, at the place where she now understood it had ended. The baby went still inside her, as if even her unborn daughter knew that everything had changed. Claire checked her phone again. Lock, unlock, lock, unlock, lock. As if the messages might change. As if Derek's lie might somehow transform into truth. It didn't. She started the car, turned toward home. The drive took 12 minutes. She didn't remember a single turn. The penthouse was dark when she returned. Cold despite the heating system. Empty in a way it had never felt before. Claire sat on the couch, still wearing her coat, still wearing her shoes. Her hands found her belly, found the life growing inside her. "I'm sorry," she whispered to her daughter. "I'm so sorry you have to feel this." The baby kicked in response. Strong, insistent, alive. Claire didn't sleep that night. She sat in the darkness, waiting, thinking, processing the unthinkable. Her husband was having an affair. Her husband had given her coat to another woman. Her husband had looked at her pregnant body and found it lacking. The thoughts circled like vultures, picking at the carcass of her marriage, finding the weak spots she had ignored for months. Dawn came slowly, gray light filtering through floor-to-ceiling windows. Boston waking up around her, traffic sounds from 20 floors below. Claire finally moved. Her body ached from sitting so long. Her back screamed from the pregnancy. Her heart screamed from everything else. She walked to Derek's home office. The door was locked. It was always locked. But she knew where he kept the spare key, taped inside the grandfather clock that Harold had given them as a wedding present. The key was cold in her hand. The lock clicked open. The office smelled like Derek, expensive cologne, leather chairs, the lingering trace of cigars he swore he didn't smoke anymore. Claire sat at his desk, opened the top drawer, bank statements, credit card bills, a lease agreement, apartment, 4B 1847, Commonwealth Avenue, monthly rent, $8,500, tenant, Vanessa Cole. The name meant nothing and everything. Claire photographed every page. Her hands shook, but her mind was clear, clearer than it had been in months. She wasn't crazy. She wasn't paranoid. She wasn't imagining things. She had proof. The front door opened at 6 a.m. Claire heard Derek's footsteps in the hallway, the soft thud of his shoes on hardwood, the whisper of fabric as he removed his coat. Her coat. Vanessa's coat now. She was sitting in the living room, waiting. The evidence spread across the coffee table before her. Bank statements, credit card bills, that damning lease agreement. Derek walked in, froze. His eyes moved from Claire to the papers, back to Claire. "You're up early," he said. His voice was carefully neutral. "I didn't sleep." "The baby keeping you awake?" He moved toward her, concern painted across his face. Practiced. Perfect. No. Claire's voice was steady. You kept me awake. Silence stretched between them. The clock on the mantel ticked, ticked, ticked. Derek's mask slipped. Just for a moment. Then it was back. The concerned husband, the expectant father, the man she thought she had married. I don't understand, he said. Where's my coat, Derek? He blinked. What? The gray cashmere, the one from your father, where is it? I don't know what you're talking about. He shook his head, confused, innocent. You probably misplaced it. Pregnancy brain, right? It happens. Claire stood. Her belly made the movement awkward, slow, but she managed. I saw you give it to her, she said, at the Sinclair. I saw you kiss her. I know about the apartment. I know about Vanessa. The silence stretched longer this time. Derek's face went through a rapid series of expressions. Surprise, calculation, decision. Then he smiled. The smile was wrong. It didn't reach his eyes. It curved his lips without warmth, without humanity. Fine, he said. You know, honestly, I'm relieved. Claire's knees went weak. She sat back down, not gracefully. The couch caught her. The baby protested the sudden movement. Relieved, she repeated. The sneaking around was exhausting. Derek loosened his tie, made himself comfortable, as if this were a normal morning conversation, as if he hadn't just admitted to destroying their marriage. Vanessa kept saying I should just tell you, that you'd understand. Understand what, exactly? Derek sat in the armchair across from her, leaned back, crossed his legs, a man completely at ease in his own destruction. That our marriage was a business arrangement, he said. It always was. My father wanted me to settle down. You were appropriate, good family, good education, good breeding potential. Breeding potential. The words hit Claire like a slap. We've been married for 5 years, she said. We built a life together. We built a suitable image. There's a difference, Mahan. Derek's voice was patient, explaining something simple to someone slow. Vanessa understands me. Vanessa is driven, ambitious. She doesn't spend all day complaining about being tired and sick. I'm pregnant with your child, and you'll be taken care of. He waved a hand, dismissive. I'm not a monster, Claire. I'll make sure you and the baby have everything you need. But this marriage, he gestured at the penthouse, at her belly, at everything they had built. This was always about what my father wanted. Vanessa is what I want. Claire's mind went blank. Then it flooded. Memories, moments, the life they had shared, their wedding day, Derek's vows. I promised to protect you, to put you first, to be the man you deserve. The night she told him she was pregnant, his tears, his joy, his hands on her belly. We're going to be parents. Claire, we made a person. Dancing in this very living room, just 6 months ago, his arms around her, his lips at her ear. I don't care about the money or the company. I'd give it all up. You're my home. All lies, every word, every touch, every promise. Claire came back to the present. Derek was still talking. Something about logistics, lawyers, keeping things civilized for the sake of the family name. Get out, she said. The words cut through his monologue. He stopped, stared. Excuse me? This is my apartment. Claire's voice was stronger now, harder. The lease is in my name. Your father insisted when we got married. Something about protecting assets. Get out of my home. Uncertainty flickered across Derek's face. He hadn't expected this. He had expected tears, begging, desperation. He had forgotten who he married. Claire, his voice softened, became gentle, the voice he used when he wanted something. Let's not be dramatic. We can discuss this like adults. We just did. You told me everything I needed to know. Claire stood again. This time she didn't waver. Pack a bag, leave your key, and get out. Where am I supposed to go? To Vanessa's apartment, the one at 1847 Commonwealth Avenue, the one you've been paying $8,500 a month for. I'm sure she'll make room. Derek's jaw tightened. The mask cracked further. Beneath it, Claire saw something she had never noticed before. Entitlement, arrogance, the absolute certainty that the world would bend to his will. "You're making a mistake," he said. "No." Claire walked to the bedroom, pulled a suitcase from the closet, threw it on the bed. "You made the mistake. I'm just responding to it." He packed in silence. She watched from the doorway, making sure he took only what was his. At the front door, he paused, turned back. "You'll regret this," he said. "When you're alone with a baby and no support, when my father hears your side of the story and sides with his only son, you'll come crawling back." Claire opened the door. Cold air rushed in. Derek's coat was missing from the rack. He had left her coat with Vanessa. "And I'm calling your father," she said, "right now, today, so he can hear both sides." For the first time, something like fear crossed Derek's face. He had been so focused on managing Claire. He had forgotten about Harold. Harold Weston, founder of Weston Industries, self-made billionaire. A man who valued family above everything, who had welcomed Claire as the daughter he never had, who had warned Derek that if he ever hurt her, there would be consequences. "Claire." Derek's voice changed, became urgent, almost pleading. "Let's not involve my father. This is between us. You involved Vanessa. You involved your company's VP of operations. You involved our marriage and our child." Claire's hand was steady on the door. "Your father was involved the moment you betrayed everything he taught you about honor." Derek left. The door closed behind him. The lock clicked. Claire leaned against the wall. Her legs finally gave out. She slid to the floor. The baby kicked, kicked, kicked. She didn't call Harold. Not yet. Not while she was shaking. Not while tears finally streamed down her face. Instead, she called Megan. Her best friend answered on the second ring. "It's 6:30 in the morning. Someone better be dead." "It's my marriage," Claire said. "It's dead." Silence. Then a sharp exhale. "I'm on my way. Don't move." Megan arrived in 20 minutes. She brought decaf coffee and a blanket and a look that could curdle milk. "I never liked him," Megan said. She wrapped the blanket around Claire's shoulders, pressed the warm cup into her hands. "I've been biting my tongue for 5 years. Why didn't you tell me? Would you have listened?" Claire considered this, honestly, thoroughly. "No," she admitted, "I wouldn't have." "Then I saved my breath for when it would matter." Megan sat beside her, shoulder to shoulder, solid and present. "It matters now, so tell me everything." Claire told her. The coat, the restaurant, the kiss, the lease, Derek's confession, his utter lack of remorse. Megan listened without interrupting. When Claire finished, she was quiet for a long moment. 9 months, Megan finally said. "He's been sleeping with her for 9 months. He was already cheating when you told him about the pregnancy." "I know." "When he cried and said he was so happy." "I know." "When he promised to be a better man for his child." "I know." Claire's voice broke. "I know all of it now." Megan pulled her closer, let her cry, didn't offer platitudes or false comfort, just presence, just support. "I'm not crazy," Claire said between sobs. "I'm not paranoid. I'm not hormonal." "You're not any of those things," Megan agreed. "He made me think I was. Every time I questioned the late nights, every time I noticed he seemed distant, he made me feel like there was something wrong with me. That's what they do." Megan's voice was hard. She was a labor and delivery nurse. She had seen women in crisis before. "They make you doubt yourself so you won't trust what you see. It's called gaslighting, and it's a form of abuse." The word hit Claire like cold water. Abuse. She had never thought of it that midstone, but it fit. It fit perfectly. The next few hours passed in a blur of activity. Megan took charge. She checked Claire's blood pressure, examined the swelling in her ankles, counted the minutes between the baby's movements. "Your pressure is elevated," she said, frowning at the numbers. "Nothing dangerous yet, but you need to see Dr. Patterson today." "I'm fine," Claire protested. "You're 7 months pregnant. You've been up all night in trauma mode. You're dehydrated and exhausted." Megan's voice softened. "Let me take care of you, just for today." Claire wanted to argue, but her body wouldn't cooperate. The adrenaline that had carried her through the night was fading. In its place was bone-deep exhaustion. She let Megan drive her to the doctor's office. Dr. Patterson was a small woman with graying hair and kind eyes. She had delivered over 3,000 babies in her career. Nothing surprised her anymore. Borderline preeclampsia, she said after the examination. Not critical yet, but I want you on modified bed rest. Minimal stress. Claire almost laughed. Minimal stress. As if that were possible. I mean it, Dr. Patterson said, catching the look. Whatever is happening in your life right now, whatever crisis you're facing, the baby has to come first. Your daughter is counting on you to keep her safe. The words landed like stones in Claire's chest. Her daughter, counting on her, needing her to be strong. I understand, Claire said. Back at the penthouse, Megan settled her on the couch with pillows and blankets and strict instructions not to move. I need to call Harold, Claire said. Not yet. Megan was firm. You need to rest first. The conversation can wait a few hours. It can't. Claire reached for her phone. Derek's already spinning his version. I can't let Harold hear lies first. Megan hesitated, then nodded. She understood the urgency. Claire dialed. The phone rang twice before Harold answered. Claire, his voice was warm, concerned. Derek mentioned you haven't been feeling well. How are you, dear? Derek, already laying groundwork, already planting seeds. I need to speak with you, Claire said. In person. It's about Derek. A pause. Harold was 70 years old. He had built a billion-dollar empire from nothing. He knew when something was wrong. I'll be there within the hour, he said. He arrived in 45 minutes. Harold Weston was tall even at his age. Silver-haired, distinguished in a way that money alone couldn't buy. He had the bearing of a man who had earned every dollar, every success, every ounce of respect. Tell me, he said. No preamble, no small talk. He sat in the chair Derek had occupied that morning. His face was grave but unsuspecting. Claire told him everything. The late nights that had grown more frequent, the distance that had crept into their marriage, the way Derek looked through her instead of at her. Then she told him about the coat, the restaurant, the kiss, the lease for Vanessa Cole. She showed him the photographs, the bank statements, the credit card receipts. Harold didn't speak for a long time. His hands rested on his knees. His jaw was tight, his eyes fixed on the evidence spread before him. How long? He finally asked. 9 months, maybe longer. Before the pregnancy. Yes, Harold closed his eyes. When he opened them again, something had changed. The warmth was gone. In its place was something cold, something dangerous. Where is he now? Harold asked. I asked him to leave. He went to her. To the apartment I never knew about, the one funded with company money. I don't know where the money came from. I know where it came from. Harold's voice was quiet, controlled, more frightening than any shout. I know every dollar that flows through Weston Industries. That apartment has been billed as executive housing for our VP of operations, Vanessa Cole. He's been using company funds to house his mistress. The implications hit Claire slowly. This wasn't just an affair. This was embezzlement, fraud, betrayal of the family business. Harold stood, buttoned his coat with deliberate precision, each movement exact, controlled. I'll handle this, he said. Harold, wait. Claire reached out, caught his sleeve. There's more. The coat he gave her, the cashmere coat. It was the one you gave me for my first Christmas as a Weston. The old man's face transformed. Claire had seen Harold in negotiations, in boardrooms, in crisis situations that would break lesser men. She had never seen him lose control. Until now, his hands trembled. His eyes went bright with something that might have been tears, or rage, or both. He gave away my gift to you, Harold said, each word precise, painful. The coat I commissioned specifically for my daughter-in-law, with your name inside. He took that and gave it to his whore. Claire flinched at the word, but she didn't correct him. Couldn't correct him. I am so sorry, Harold said. His voice cracked. I raised him, I taught him, and I failed. Somewhere along the way, I failed completely. This isn't your fault. It is exactly my fault. Harold took her hands. His grip was gentle despite the tremor. But I will make it right. I swear to you, Claire, I will make this right. He left. The door closed softly behind him. Claire sat in the silence, processing, thinking, trying to reconcile the man she had married with the man Derek had become. Or maybe he had always been this way. Maybe she had just been too in love to see it. She closed her eyes. Let the memories come. Not the painful recent ones, the older ones, the ones from before, their first date, a coffee shop in Cambridge. Derek had been nervous, charming. He had spilled coffee on his shirt and laughed at himself. "I wanted to impress you," he had said. "I guess I'll have to try something else." Their first trip together, a weekend in Vermont, snow falling outside the cabin window, his arms around her in front of the fire. "I could stay here forever," he had whispered. "Just us, just this." Their wedding night, dancing in an empty ballroom after all the guests had left. Just the two of them. The band playing one last song just for them. Derek spinning her across the floor. "You're my whole world now," he had said. "Everything else is just details." Lies, all of it. Or maybe not lies at the time. Maybe he had meant those words when he said them. Maybe that made it worse. Claire opened her eyes. The penthouse was dark. Hours had passed while she sat lost in memory. Megan had covered her with a blanket, had turned off the lights, had let her process. "Hey," Megan's voice came from the kitchen. "You're awake. I made soup. I'm not hungry." "You need to eat anyway. Doctor's orders." Megan appeared with a steaming bowl. Chicken noodle, Claire's favorite since childhood. "Your baby needs calories even if you don't want them." Claire took the bowl, forced herself to eat. Each bite was mechanical, tasteless. "Harold came back while you were sleeping," Megan said. Claire looked up. "What did he say?" "Not much. He was on the phone the whole time. Lawyers, it sounded like." Megan paused. "He looked different, older, like something had broken inside him." "His son broke it." "No." Megan shook her head. "Derek broke himself. Harold is just seeing the damage clearly for the first time." 3 days passed. Claire followed the bed rest orders. Megan stayed with her. Harold called twice daily but shared nothing about his conversations with Derek. The penthouse felt larger without Derek in it, and smaller at the same time. Every room held ghosts of the life they had shared, the life that had been a lie. Claire found herself reorganizing things. The spice cabinet, the linen closet, her jewelry box, putting order to small things when the big things were Kate. It was a familiar coping mechanism. She had done the same thing after her mother died. After she lost the promotion she had worked years for. After every crisis that felt too big to face. Put the small things in order. Trust that the big things would follow. The baby seemed to understand. She was active during these organizing sessions, kicking along, participating in her own way. "We're going to be okay," Claire told her daughter. "I don't know how yet, but we're going to be okay." On the 4th day, Claire ventured out of the penthouse, a scheduled appointment with Dr. Patterson. Nothing could be rescheduled. Nothing could wait. The January cold had deepened. A storm warning scrolled across her phone. 6 to 8 inches expected by nightfall. Temperatures dropping into single digits. Claire looked at her coat options. The thin wool pea coat. That was it. Derek had taken her only warm coat, given it to another woman, left her with nothing adequate for a Boston winter. She layered sweaters beneath the pea coat, wrapped a scarf around her neck, pulled on the warmest boots she owned. It would have to be enough. The drive to the medical building was slow. Ice on the roads, salt trucks running behind schedule. Other drivers crawling along at 15 miles per hour. Claire made it to the appointment on time. Dr. Patterson examined her, checked the baby's heartbeat, reviewed the blood pressure readings. "Improvement," as she said, "and the rest is helping. Keep it up." Claire nodded, gathered her things, headed back to the parking garage. Her car wouldn't start. She turned the key. Nothing. Turned it again. A clicking sound, then silence. Dead battery. The cold had killed it overnight, the extreme temperatures draining what little charge remained. Claire sat in the frozen car. Her breath formed clouds in the air. The temperature inside was dropping rapidly. She called Megan. Voicemail. She was on shift at the hospital. Couldn't answer personal calls. She called a rideshare. Surge pricing. 45-minute wait due to weather conditions. She sat, waited. Watched the minutes tick by, the cold seeping through her inadequate layers. Then, against all judgment, she tried Derek's number. It went straight to voicemail. He had blocked her. She tried Harold. No answer. Probably in meetings. Probably handling the disaster his son had created. The garage was freezing. She could see her breath. The baby was restless, kicking harder than usual, protesting the cold that was reaching them both. Claire made a decision. The brownstone was only 12 blocks away. She had walked it dozens of times before, when she had a proper coat, when she wasn't 7 months pregnant, when it wasn't 18 degrees with a wind chill of 7. But sitting here meant freezing. Waiting meant the cold getting worse. Moving meant warmth. Eventually. She got out of the car, the wind hit her immediately, cut through the layers like they were nothing, found every gap, every weakness. 1 block. She could barely feel her fingers. 2 blocks. Her face was numb. 3 blocks. The baby had gone very still, which terrified her. Keep moving, Claire told herself. Just keep moving. 1 foot in front of the other. 4 blocks. 5. 6. Her legs felt like lead. Each step was an effort. The world was white and gray and punishing. 7 blocks. She couldn't feel her feet anymore. The boots were fashionable but not insulated. Not designed for this. 8 blocks. The brownstone was close. She could see it. Just 4 more blocks. Just a few more minutes. 9 blocks. The world tilted. The sidewalk rushed up. Claire was on her hands and knees in a snowbank. Ice soaking through her pants. Cold burning her palms. Her phone had skidded somewhere into the white. She tried to stand. Couldn't. Her legs wouldn't obey. Help. The word came out as a whisper. The wind stole it immediately. Please, someone. The street was empty. The storm had driven everyone inside. She was alone in the white, in the cold, in the worst moment of her life. The baby kicked, weak, struggling. I'm sorry, Claire whispered. I'm so sorry, sweetheart. I'm so sorry. A car stopped. She heard it through the roar of the wind. A door slammed, footsteps crunching through snow. Oh my God, Claire? She knew that voice. It was the last voice she expected. Dorothy Weston, her mother-in-law, kneeling in the snow, taking off her own coat, wrapping it around Claire. What are you doing out here? Where's your coat? Where's Derek? Claire couldn't answer. The cold had stolen her words. The world was going gray at the edges. Dark spots danced in her vision. Don't you dare pass out on me, Dorothy commanded. Her voice was sharp, aristocratic, the voice of a woman who expected obedience. I'm calling an ambulance. Stay awake. Do you hear me? Stay awake. Claire heard her, but staying awake was getting harder. The gray was spreading, the darkness growing. The last thing she felt was Dorothy's hands on her face. Warm, human, present, then nothing. She woke to bright lights, beeping monitors, the sterile smell of a hospital. The baby. That was her first thought. Her hands flew to her belly, still there, still round, still present. A monitor beside the bed showed a heartbeat, steady, strong, 140 beats per minute. Her daughter was alive. Claire started to cry, relief washing over her in waves. She had almost killed her baby, walking through a blizzard, without proper clothing, without telling anyone where she was going. Because Derek took her coat, because Derek left her with nothing, because she trusted a man who stopped deserving trust long ago. The door opened, a nurse appeared, then a doctor, then Harold and Dorothy and Megan all at once. She's awake, the doctor said. Vitals are stable. The baby is fine. Some mild hypothermia, but we caught it in time. Claire, dear foyer. Dorothy pushed past the others, took her hand, something she had never done before in 5 years of knowing each other. I found you in the snow. What were you thinking? My car wouldn't start. Claire's voice was hoarse, weak. The rideshare was 45 minutes. I thought I could walk. Without a coat? Derek took my coat. The words came out flat, empty. The one your husband gave me. He gave it to his mistress. Dorothy's face went very still. She looked at Harold. Harold looked back. Something passed between them. Understanding. Decision. I know, Dorothy said quietly. Harold told me everything. Everything? The affair. The apartment, the company money, the coat. Dorothy's grip on Claire's hand tightened. I know about Vanessa Cole. I know what my son has done. Claire searched her mother-in-law's face, looking for anger, for defense, for the maternal instinct to protect her child no matter what. She found something else instead: shame, grief, resolve. I knew something was wrong, Dorothy said, about the affair, but that something had changed. The way Derek looked at you, the way he talked about you. I should have said something. Why didn't you? Because he's my son. Because admitting his failures means admitting mine. Dorothy's voice broke. I raised him. Whatever he became, I had a hand in making. And I'm so sorry, Claire. You deserved a better son than the one I raised. Claire stared at her mother-in-law. This woman she had kept at arm's length for 5 years. This woman she had always found cold, distant, superior. This woman who was now crying in a hospital chair, blaming herself, showing a humanity Claire had never seen. She reached out, took Dorothy's hand. The gesture surprised them both. It's not your fault, Claire said. He made his choices. We're all just dealing with the consequences. Dorothy nodded, wiped her eyes, composed herself with visible effort. Harold stepped forward. His face was ashen, older than Claire had ever seen it. What happened to you, he said, walking through that blizzard, nearly dying in the snow? That is on my son. That is his doing. And I promise you, Claire, there will be consequences. Harold! Claire shook her head. I made the choice to walk. That's on me. You made that choice because he left you without options, without a coat, without consideration for your well-being or the baby's safety. Harold's voice hardened. He was supposed to protect you. That was his job as a husband, as a father. He failed completely. The doctor interrupted. More tests were needed, more monitoring. Claire would need to stay overnight at minimum. The room emptied slowly. Megan stayed, sat in the chair beside the bed, held Claire's hand. That was something, Megan said. Dorothy Weston, crying. I didn't think she had tear ducts. Claire almost smiled, almost. She's not what I thought, Claire said. None of this is what I thought. That seems to be going around. Silence settled between them. Comfortable, familiar. The silence of 20 years of friendship. I almost lost her, Claire said, meaning the baby, meaning everything. Walking in that cold, I almost lost my daughter. But you didn't. Megan squeezed her hand. She's still there, still fighting, just like her mother. Claire closed her eyes, let the monitors beep, let her daughter's heartbeat fill the room. She wasn't out of the woods yet. None of them were. But for this moment, in this hospital room, with her best friend beside her and her baby safe in my adherence, she could rest. Tomorrow would bring more battles, more pain, more decisions she wasn't ready to make. But tomorrow wasn't here yet. And tonight, she would simply breathe. Derek came to the hospital the next morning. Claire was alone. Harold and Dorothy were meeting with lawyers. Megan was at work. The morning nurse had just finished rounds. He walked in like he still belonged, like nothing had changed. His coat was expensive, his shoes were polished. His face was a mask of concern. I heard you were here, he said. He didn't sit, didn't come closer than the doorway. Some kind of incident in the snow. Claire stared at him. This man she had married, this man she had loved, this stranger wearing her husband's face. My car wouldn't start, she said. I had to walk, in a blizzard, 7 months pregnant. You should have called someone. I tried to call you, you blocked my number. Derek shifted. A flicker of something crossed his face. Not guilt, inconvenience. My father is trying to use this against me, he said, making it seem like I'm somehow responsible for you wandering around in a snowstorm. It's ridiculous. You're an adult. You made your own choice. I made that choice because I had no other options. Claire kept her voice steady. My only warm coat was on your mistress. My husband blocked my calls. The rideshare was 45 minutes. What would you have had me do? I don't know. Wait in the car. Call a taxi. Figure something out. Derek spread his hands. Reasonable. Logical. You're supposed to be smart, Claire. Act like it. The words hit her like a slap. Supposed to be smart. As if pregnancy had erased her intelligence. as if his betrayal was somehow her failure. And suddenly, she saw him clearly. Not the man she had married, not the father of her child, just a small, selfish person who had never faced consequences. "Your father knows everything," she said. "The apartment, the money, the coat, everything." Derek's mask slipped. Fear flickered in his eyes. "He'll get over it. He always does. I'm his only heir." "Are you? What's that supposed to mean?" Claire smiled. It wasn't a kind smile. "I think you should ask him. He was on the phone with lawyers all morning." Before Derek could respond, the door opened. Harold walked in first, then Dorothy, then Robert Chambers, the family attorney Claire had met at company events, and behind them, Vanessa Cole. She was wearing Claire's gray cashmere coat. "What is this?" Derek demanded. Harold's voice was ice. "This is consequences, son." The room felt smaller suddenly. Charged. The machines beeped on, oblivious to the drama unfolding. Robert spoke first. His voice was measured, professional, the voice of a man who had delivered bad news hundreds of times. "Derek, your employment contract with Weston Industries includes a morality clause. Section 14, subsection B, conduct unbecoming of an executive, embezzlement of company funds, misuse of corporate assets. Get to the point. Your position as CEO is terminated, effective immediately." Derek laughed. The sound was sharp, disbelieving. "You can't fire me. I'm the heir apparent. I'm the future of this company." "You were the future." Harold stepped forward. His frame filled the doorway. His presence filled the room. Past tense. "This is insane. Over an affair, executives have affairs every day." "This isn't about the affair." Harold's voice rose. Not a shout, something worse. Controlled fury. "This is about what you did with it. Company funds for that apartment. Corporate credit cards for jewelry and trips. Thousands of dollars every month. Money that belonged to shareholders. Employees. The family that trusted you. It's a rounding error in our budget. It's embezzlement." Now Harold did shout. The word echoed off the hospital walls. "It's fraud. It's betrayal of everything I built. Everything I taught you. Everything I believed you could be." Derek's face hardened. "You're overreacting, like you always do, like Claire does. Everyone in my life is so goddamn dramatic." "I found her," Dorothy said. Her voice cut through the tension, quiet but sharp. "I found Claire collapsed in the snow, hypothermic, 7 months pregnant with your child. She could have died. The baby could have died. That's not my fault. You took her coat." Dorothy's composure cracked. "The coat my husband gave her. You took it from her closet, gave it to this woman." She pointed at Vanessa. "Left your pregnant wife with nothing warm to wear in January. And when her car broke down, she had no choice but to walk, in 18 degrees, with a baby inside her. She chose to walk. That's on her." "You chose to take her coat," Dorothy was shouting now. Claire had never heard her raise her voice. "You chose to block her calls. You chose to leave her alone and vulnerable and without resources. Every choice you made led to her lying in that snow. That is on you." Silence fell, heavy, complete. Derek looked around the room, at his parents, at the lawyer, at Vanessa, who had said nothing, at Claire, lying in the hospital bed with monitors tracking her daughter's heartbeat. For a moment, something human flickered in his eyes, something like recognition of what he had done. Then it was gone. "Fine," he said. "Fire me, cut me off, do whatever you want. But I'm still your son, Dad. I'm still blood. You'll forgive me eventually. You always do." Harold shook his head slowly. "Not this time." "What does that mean?" Harold turned to Vanessa. His gaze dropped to the coat she wore, to the gray cashmere with Claire's name embroidered inside. "Take it off," he said. Vanessa's composure cracked. "Excuse me?" "The coat you're wearing, it doesn't belong to you. Take it off, now." She looked at Derek. He didn't look back, didn't defend her, didn't speak. Slowly, Vanessa removed the coat. Her hands trembled as she held it out. Dorothy took it, folded it carefully, walked to Claire's bedside and placed it on the chair. "This was commissioned from a tailor in Milan," Harold said. His eyes never left Derek. I had Claire's name embroidered inside because I wanted her to know she was family. Real family. Not convenient, not purchased. Chosen. He paused. Let the words sink in. You gave away something that didn't belong to you, Harold continued, to a woman you chose over your wife, your pregnant wife, and she nearly died because of it. Dad, Derek's voice had changed, smaller, uncertain. Let's talk about this. Privately. Man to man. There's nothing left to talk about. Harold straightened his cuffs. I'm removing you from the will. Effective immediately. Your share of the estate, $40 million, is being redirected to a trust for my grandchild. Claire will be the trustee. The color drained from Derek's face. You can't do that. It's already done. Robert filed the paperwork this morning. That's my money, my inheritance. It was never yours. Harold's voice was final. It was potential, a gift you would have earned by becoming the man I hoped you could be. You chose differently. Now I choose differently too. Derek turned to Dorothy, looking for an ally, looking for motherly protection. Mom, talk to him, make him see reason. Dorothy shook her head. Her eyes were wet, but her voice was steady. I can't protect you from this, Derek. I won't. What you did to Claire, what you did to that baby, it's unforgivable. You're my mother, and she's my daughter. Dorothy looked at Claire. She should have been my daughter from the beginning. I should have seen her, protected her, loved her the way she deserved. I failed at that, but I won't fail again. Derek's facade crumbled. For the first time, Claire saw panic in his eyes. Real panic. He was losing everything. His job, his money, his family. He turned to Claire, the last person in the room he hadn't addressed. Claire, please. His voice broke. We can work this out. Counseling, therapy, whatever you need. Just don't let them do this. Claire looked at him, at the man she had loved, at the father of her child, at the stranger who had taken everything from her and asked for mercy. You blocked my number, she said. When I was cold and scared and alone, I called you, and you had blocked my number. I can explain. You gave my coat to your mistress, the coat I wore to feel close to this family. You gave it away like it meant nothing. It's just a coat. No. Claire's voice hardened. It was never just a coat. It was belonging, acceptance, love. And you took it, because what I needed never mattered to you. Claire, there's nothing left to say. She turned away, looked at the monitor, at her daughter's heartbeat, steady, strong. Get out and don't come back. Derek looked around one more time, at his parents who had disowned him, at the lawyer who had terminated him, at the mistress who had nothing to say, at the wife he had betrayed. Then he left. The door closed softly behind him. The room exhaled. The tension dissipated, but something new filled the space, something fragile and tentative. Hope. The week after Derek left was quiet. Claire went home from the hospital with strict instructions: bed rest, minimal stress, regular monitoring. Dr. Patterson called daily to check on her vitals. Megan had essentially moved into the guest room. She was between leases, she said, needed a place to crash for a few weeks. Claire knew it was a kindness, a way to be present without making it about her. Dorothy visited every morning. She brought tea, pastries from the French bakery Claire loved, quiet company and no pressure to talk. It was strange. 5 years of polite distance, now something else entirely. I owe you an apology, Dorothy said on the third morning, for all the years I held you at arm's length. You don't need to apologize. I do. Dorothy set down her teacup. When Derek brought you home, I was suspicious. Another woman after the Weston money, another fortune hunter looking for easy access. I wasn't after money. I know that now. I knew it then, if I'm honest. But seeing the truth meant admitting that Derek had succeeded where I failed, that he had found love, real love, while I settled for obligation. Claire didn't know what to say. Dorothy rarely spoke about her marriage to Harold. The family dynamic had always seemed solid, stable. Harold and I married for business reasons, Dorothy continued. His company needed credibility. My family needed capital. It was arranged before we met. Did you love him? I learned to, over time, after Derek was born. Dorothy smiled, sad and soft. He's a good man, Harold, better than I deserved. But what you and Derek had, before it went wrong, that was something else. That was what I always wanted for my son. What went wrong? Claire asked. The question she had been turning over for days. Was it always like this, or did something change? Dorothy was quiet for a long moment. Derek was always charming, bright, capable of great kindness when it suited him. But he was also, how do I say this, empty in certain ways, like there was a piece missing, the piece that connects actions to consequences. Sociopathic? Nothing so clinical, just incomplete. Dorothy sighed. I blamed myself for years, working too much when he was young, letting nannies raise him, not being present enough. It's not your fault. It's partly my fault, and partly Harold's, and partly just who Derek is. Some things can't be explained, only accepted. Claire thought about this, about the nature versus nurture question she would face with her own daughter, about the fear that something of Derek would live on in the baby she carried. What happens now? She asked. That depends on you. Dorothy reached out, took Claire's hand. Whatever you decide, stay, leave, fight, forgive. The family will support you. Harold has made that clear. Even though the marriage is over? Especially because the marriage is over. Dorothy's grip tightened. You're carrying our grandchild. You're the mother of the next generation. That matters more than any paperwork. Later that day, the divorce papers arrived. Robert Chambers delivered them personally, explained each clause, each provision, each term. Derek was asking for nothing. No assets, no visitation rights, no alimony, a complete clean break. He wants this over quickly, Robert said, before Harold changes his mind about the trust fund. Harold won't change his mind. Derek doesn't know that. He's hoping that if this is resolved fast, Harold might soften. Claire looked at the papers, page after page of legal language. The dissolution of 5 years of marriage, the end of everything she had believed in. Is there a catch? She asked. One provision. Derek wants confidentiality. No public disclosure of the reasons for divorce. No media involvement. No statements to the press. He wants to protect his reputation. What's left of it? Robert paused. You don't have to agree if you want to go public with what he did. The affair, the embezzlement, the coat. You have every right. Claire considered this. The satisfaction of exposing Derek to the world. The vindication of having everyone know what he had done, but also the attention, the scrutiny, the cameras outside her home. The headlines about the pregnant wife whose husband left her to freeze. She didn't want that. Didn't want her daughter born into a media circus. I'll sign, she said, with one condition. Name it. Visitation with the baby. I want it in writing that he has no rights, that he can't show up in 5 years wanting to play daddy, that this is over completely. Robert nodded, made a note. I'll have the terms revised and return tomorrow. After he left, Claire sat with the papers in her lap, looking at the signature lines, at the places where she would end her marriage with a stroke of a pen. She thought about Derek, about the man she had married, about all the versions of him she had known. The nervous boy on their first date, the romantic who proposed at sunset, the husband who held her after her mother died, the expectant father who cried when he heard their daughter's heartbeat. Where had that man gone? Had he ever existed? Or had she invented him, projected her hopes onto an empty canvas? She would never know. And maybe that was the hardest part. Claire signed the papers, her name in neat cursive, Claire Elizabeth Weston, but she kept her married name. Not for Derek, for the baby, for the family she still had. The next morning, she woke to sunlight streaming through the windows. The storm had passed, the sky was clear, the city was digging out from under inches of snow. Claire stood at the window, her hand on her belly, her daughter turning somersaults inside her. 8 weeks until her due date, 8 weeks to prepare, to heal, to build a new life from the wreckage of the old. She could do this. She would do this, not because she was strong, not because she was brave, but because she had no other choice. The baby kicked, hard, demanding attention. I hear you, Claire said. I see you, and I promise. We're going to be okay. February came with more snow, but less cold. Claire's belly grew. 8 months now, then 8.5. Her daughter was running out of room. Every movement was visible from the outside. A foot here, an elbow there, a whole person trying to make space. The penthouse transformed around her. Megan helped clear out Derek's things. Donated, discarded, erased. The guest room became a nursery. Pale yellow walls, white furniture. A mobile of silver stars hanging from the ceiling. Dorothy brought baby clothes, designer pieces from the finest boutiques. Claire accepted them graciously, but secretly preferred the onesies Megan found at Target. Soft cotton, practical, washable. Harold came by once a week for dinner. He brought updates from the company, from the lawyers, from the life that continued beyond Claire's walls. Derek had found an apartment, a studio in Somerville, far from Back Bay, far from the world he had known. He was looking for work. No one in Boston would hire a disgraced CEO with a morality clause termination. He'll land on his feet eventually, Harold said. No bitterness in his voice. Just fact. Men like Derek always do. And Vanessa? Gone, moved to New York, found another executive to attach to, from what I hear. Harold smiled grimly. She was never in it for love. Derek was just the latest investment. Claire nodded. She had suspected as much. The way Vanessa had stood silent in the hospital room. Not defending Derek, not fighting for him, just calculating her next move. How do you feel about it? Harold asked. About Derek, about everything. Claire thought about this, really thought about it. I expected to feel angry, she said, for a long time, years maybe, but I just feel tired. Tired of carrying the weight of what he did. Tired of letting him take up space in my head. That's wisdom. It's survival. Claire looked at her belly, at the daughter who would arrive soon. I don't have room for anger anymore. I need that space for hope. March came. Her due date approached. Claire's body prepared for the marathon ahead. Braxton Hicks contractions, lower back pain, the bone-deep exhaustion of carrying another life. She stopped working, officially resigned from the marketing firm where she had built her career. The company sent flowers, cards, well wishes. But no one called, no one visited. Work friends had been Derek's friends too. And in the divorce, they had chosen sides. They're lost, Megan said. You don't need people who can't see your worth. I know. Claire did know, but it still hurt. One night, 2 weeks before her dues date, Claire woke at 3 a.m. Not contractions, not pain, just wakefulness. She walked to the window. The city glittered below. Cars passing, lights blinking. A world that didn't know or care about her troubles. She stood there for a long time. Not thinking, not processing, just existing. The baby shifted, turned, found a new position to settle into. Almost there, Claire whispered. Almost time to meet you. She wasn't afraid anymore, not of labor, not of motherhood, not of doing this alone. She had built a support system. Dorothy, Harold, Megan, Dr. Patterson, even Robert Chambers, in his professional way. She wasn't alone. She had never been alone. She had just been too focused on Derek to see it. The realization settled into her bones, quiet, profound. She had spent 5 years making herself smaller, accommodating Derek's needs, his moods, his priorities, convincing herself that a good wife put her husband first. But a good husband wouldn't have required her to disappear. A good husband would have helped her grow, encouraged her dreams, made space for both of them to flourish. Derek never did that, and maybe, just maybe, that wasn't her failure. It was his. Claire returned to bed, slept deeply for the first time in months, dreamed of holding her daughter, of watching her grow, of a future that was hers to shape. She woke to sunlight, to possibility, to the first contractions of labor. Eleanor Dorothy Weston arrived at 4:17 p.m., 8 pounds, 4 ounces, 10 fingers, 10 toes. Her mother's eyes. Claire held her daughter for the first time, looked into that perfect face, felt a love so fierce it took her breath away. Hello, Eleanor, she whispered. Hello, my love. I've been waiting so long to meet you. The baby opened her eyes, looked at her mother, seemed to understand. We're going to be okay, Claire thought. Better than okay. We're going to be wonderful. The first weeks of motherhood were a blur. Feedings every 2 hours, diapers beyond counting, sleep in fragments, coffee in quantities that would have horrified Dr. Patterson. But beneath the exhaustion was joy, pure and uncomplicated. Eleanor was perfect. Not in the way parents always think their children are perfect, actually perfect. She slept well, ate well, cried only when she needed something, and stopped the moment that need was met. You got lucky, Megan said, watching Eleanor nap. Some babies are nightmares. This one is an angel. She takes after her mother, Dorothy said, smiling. Claire laughed. It was the first time she had laughed freely in months. The sound surprised her, delighted her. Spring arrived. Eleanor grew, from 8 pounds to 10 to 12, from a fragile newborn to a sturdy infant with strong lungs and stronger opinions. Derek requested visitation. Through lawyers, formal and distant. Claire's response was equally formal. Per the divorce agreement, he had surrendered parental rights. He had no claim on Eleanor, no right to see her, no role in her life. The lawyers went back and forth. Derek pushed. Claire held firm. Eventually, a compromise was reached. Supervised visits, once a month, at a neutral location with a social worker present. The first visit was scheduled for April. Derek showed up 15 minutes late. He looked different, thinner, older, the polish worn away. His suit was expensive, but not quite fresh. His confidence dented, but not destroyed. She's beautiful, he said, looking at Eleanor. She looks like you. Thank you. Claire, he stepped closer, lowered his voice. I've been thinking about everything, about what I did. Have you? I was wrong, I know that now. The affair, the coat, all of it. I was selfish and stupid and I hurt you. I'm sorry. Claire waited. For the catch, for the condition, for the real reason he was saying these words. I want to try again, Derek continued. Not the marriage, I know that's over. But being a family, being present for Eleanor, being better than I was. There it was. Not remorse. Strategy. What happened with the job search? Claire asked. Derek blinked, thrown off by the question. It's ongoing. And Vanessa? We ended things months ago. And your father? Silence. Derek's jaw tightened. He won't take my calls, he admitted. Mom either. I've tried, over and over. They're done with me. Claire nodded. She had suspected as much. Derek wasn't here because he was sorry. He was here because he was alone. Because he had lost everything and everyone. Because Eleanor was his last connection to the life he had destroyed. I'll agree to the supervised visits, Claire said. Once a month, as scheduled. But I need you to understand something. Anything. You broke my trust completely, deliberately. And trust once broken doesn't come back easily, if it comes back at all. I know. Do you? Claire looked at him, really looked. Because trust isn't about apologies, it's about actions. Consistent actions over time. Years of proving you've changed. Not words, not promises. Actions. I can do that. Maybe, maybe not. But either way, Eleanor comes first. Her safety, her well-being, her happiness. If you can't put her first. Every time. Without exception. Then these visits end. Permanently. Derek nodded. Solemn, sincere, but Claire had seen sincere before. At their wedding. When she told him about the pregnancy. When he promised to be the man she deserved. She would believe his actions, not his words. The visit ended. The social worker made notes. Eleanor slept through the whole thing. Blissfully unaware of the drama surrounding her. After Derek left, Claire sat in the car, thinking. She didn't hate him anymore. Didn't even resent him. He was just a person, a flawed, broken person who had hurt her, who might hurt her again if she let him. But she wouldn't let him. Not again. She had learned her worth. Painfully, slowly, but completely. And her worth was not determined by Derek Weston. Never had been. Summer arrived in Boston like a blessing. The cold months were finally behind them. The snow had melted, the trees had bloomed. The world outside Claire's window was green and gold and full of promise. Eleanor grew into a curious, alert baby who studied the world with serious eyes. At 6 months, she could sit up on her own. At 7 months, she was reaching for everything within arm's length. At 8 months, she laughed at the simplest things: a butterfly outside the window, the sound of Megan making ridiculous faces, the way Dorothy's pearl necklace caught the light. Claire watched her daughter discover the world. Each new experience was a miracle. Each smile was a gift. "She has your expressions," Megan observed one afternoon. They were in the park, Eleanor in her stroller, ducks waddling by the pond. "That little frown when she's concentrating, that's pure Claire." "I hope that's all she gets from me." Claire adjusted Eleanor's sun hat. "My stubbornness, my inability to ask for help, those she can skip." "Your stubbornness kept you alive." Megan was serious now. "That night in the snow, a less stubborn woman might have given up." Claire didn't answer. She didn't like thinking about that night. The cold, the fear, the moment when the world went gray and she thought she might never see her daughter's face. But Megan was right. Stubbornness had its uses. The summer days stretched long and warm. Claire found her rhythm as a mother. Wake at 6, feed Eleanor, play on the mat, nap time, more feeding, walk in the park, bath time, bedtime routine, sleep in fragments. It was exhausting. It was wonderful. It was everything she never knew she wanted. Dorothy and Harold became constant presences in their lives. Sunday dinners at the Weston family home, Wednesday afternoon visits with pastries and presents, Saturday morning walks in the Boston Common with Eleanor in her stroller. "I never thought I'd be this kind of grandmother," Dorothy confessed one afternoon. They were sitting on a bench near the frog pond. Eleanor was asleep. The summer breeze carried the scent of flowers and fresh-cut grass. "The involved kind, the present kind. What kind did you think you'd be?" "The distant kind, the once-a-year holiday kind." Dorothy smiled ruefully. "The kind who sends expensive gifts and expects gratitude. The kind my mother was." Claire watched a group of children running across the grass, laughing, carefree. "What changed?" "You did." Dorothy turned to look at her. "When Derek told us he was engaged, I expected another socialite, another woman who cared about status and appearances and the Weston name, someone I could keep at arm's length, someone who wouldn't challenge me. I wasn't that." "No, you were real, genuine. You loved Derek for himself, not for what he could give you. And when he did what he did." Dorothy paused, gathering herself. "You showed more grace than I thought possible. More strength, more dignity." "I didn't feel dignified. I felt broken. Broken people don't rebuild themselves the way you have." Dorothy reached out, took Claire's hand. "You've built a life, Claire. A real life, not just for Eleanor, for yourself. That takes courage." Claire thought about this, about the life she was building, the rhythms and routines, the small joys and quiet moments. It wasn't the life she had planned. It wasn't the life she had imagined when she said "I do" 5 years ago, but it was good. It was hers. "I miss being able to trust easily," Claire admitted. The words came slowly, painfully. "Before Derek, I believed people were mostly good. I gave everyone the benefit of the doubt. Now I check, I question, I wait for the other shoe to drop." "That's not weakness," Dorothy said. "That's wisdom. It feels like loss. Maybe it's both." Dorothy was quiet for a long moment. A duck quacked somewhere nearby. Children shrieked with laughter. "You know what Harold's father told him once? That wisdom is what you're left with after innocence burns away. It's not as pretty, not as hopeful, but it keeps you warm in the cold." Claire considered this. The warmth of wisdom versus the brightness of innocence. The scars that came with learning hard lessons. Maybe wisdom and loss were two sides of the same coin. Maybe you couldn't have one without the other. Maybe that was okay. Fall arrived with golden leaves and cool mornings. Eleanor hit 9 months. She was crawling now. Fast, determined, getting into everything. Claire spent half her days chasing after her daughter and the other half baby-proofing every surface in the penthouse. She's a force of nature, Megan said, watching Eleanor pull herself up on the coffee table. Just like her mama. I was never this energetic. You were, you just don't remember. Megan grinned. Your mom used to tell me stories. About the time you climbed the bookshelf at 3 years old. About the time you escaped from the backyard and walked 2 blocks to the ice cream shop. About the time you decided to give yourself a haircut. Claire laughed. She hadn't thought about those stories in years. Her mother had told them at every family gathering, embarrassing Claire, delighting everyone else. Her mother, gone 3 years now, never meeting Eleanor, never knowing what Derek would become. She would have loved this, Claire said softly. Being a grandmother. She would have been amazing at it, Megan's voice gentled. And she would have been so proud of you, Claire, of how you've handled everything. The tears came without warning. Claire wiped them away quickly, but they kept coming. Grief that she thought she had processed. Loss that still found her in quiet moments. Eleanor crawled over, pulled herself up on Claire's leg, looked up at her mother with concerned eyes. Mama, she babbled, patting Claire's knee. Claire laughed through her tears, picked up her daughter, held her close. I'm okay, sweetheart. Mama's okay, just missing someone who would have loved you very much. Eleanor grabbed Claire's face, studied her with that serious expression, then smiled. A big, gummy, beautiful smile. And somehow that made everything better. Harold approached Claire one evening in mid-October. The leaves were turning orange and red. The air was crisp with the promise of winter. Eleanor was 10 months old and practicing standing on her own. They were at the Weston family home for Sunday dinner. Dorothy had taken Eleanor to see the koi pond in the garden. Harold and Claire sat in the study, fireplace crackling, cognac in crystal glasses. I have a proposition, Harold said. Claire raised an eyebrow. That sounds ominous. It's not, I promise. Harold smiled. The marketing division at Weston Industries needs leadership. Our current vice president is retiring at the end of the year. The board has been discussing candidates. Are you offering me a job? I'm offering you your career back. Harold leaned forward. His eyes were bright with something that looked like pride. You were damn good at what you did, Claire. Before you gave it up for my son, before you sacrificed your ambitions for his, the company would benefit from having you. I would benefit from having you. Claire set down her cognac, thought carefully about her response. There would be talk, she said. The CEO's ex-daughter-in-law. People would assume I got the job through connections, through the divorce settlement, through pity. People assume all sorts of things, rarely accurately. Harold waved a hand dismissively. Let them talk, let them wonder, and then let your work speak for itself. It's not that simple. It's exactly that simple. Harold's voice hardened slightly. You earned your credentials, your reputation, your skill, 15 years in marketing, a master's degree from Kellogg, campaign work that won industry awards. Derek didn't give you those things. You built them yourself. Every single one. Claire was quiet, thinking, processing. Take them back, Harold continued. Take back what you earned. Don't let Derek's failures diminish your successes. I have Eleanor to think about. We have excellent childcare programs, flexible hours for executives with families, remote work options when needed. Harold paused. I'm not asking you to choose between your daughter and your career. I'm offering you both. Claire stared into the fire. Watched the flames dance and flicker. She had given up her career for Derek, had stepped back from the work she loved to support his ambitions, had told herself it was temporary, that she would return eventually, that being a good wife meant sacrifice. Now Derek was gone. The sacrifice meant nothing, and the career she had built was sitting there, waiting, like a door she had never quite closed. Can I think about it? She asked. Take all the time you need. She thought about it for 3 weeks, talked to everyone she trusted. Megan was enthusiastic. Do it. Absolutely do it. You've been wasted staying home. Not that being a mom isn't important, but you can be a mom and a VP. Women do it all the time. Dorothy was supportive but cautious. It's a big decision. Make sure you're doing it for yourself, not to prove something to Derek. Our Patterson reminded her to consider her stress levels. You've had a difficult year. A high-pressure job might not be what you need right now. Her therapist asked the question that mattered most. What do you want, Claire? Not what others want for you, not what makes sense on paper. What do you actually want? What did she want? She wanted to show Eleanor that women could have careers and families. That ambition wasn't incompatible with love, that you didn't have to choose between your children and yourself. She wanted to prove that Derek's betrayal hadn't broken her, that she was stronger than what he had done, that the woman who had collapsed in the snow could rise again. She wanted to matter, to contribute, to be more than a cautionary tale about trusting the wrong man. She wanted her life back. All of it, not just the pieces Derek hadn't touched. Claire called Harold on a Tuesday morning. Eleanor was napping. The apartment was quiet. Sunlight streamed through the windows. I'm in, she said. When do I start? January 1st. We'll make the official announcement at the board meeting next week. Harold's voice was warm with satisfaction. Welcome to Weston Industries, Vice President Morrison. Claire paused. You called me Morrison. Your maiden name, I thought you might want to use it professionally, a fresh start. Tears pricked her eyes. She hadn't even considered it. But Harold had. Harold had thought about what she might need before she knew she needed it. Thank you, she said, for everything. Thank me by making the marketing division the best in the industry. I will. The first day of work was terrifying. New office, new responsibilities, new faces. Some of them knew her story. The CEO's ex-daughter-in-law, the pregnant woman whose husband left her for another executive, the scandal that had rocked the company a year ago. Claire walked into the building with her head high. Her outfit was carefully chosen. Navy blue suit, silk blouse, heels that added 3 inches to her height. Professional, powerful, unbreakable. The whispers started before she reached the elevator. That's her, the one who, I heard she only got the job because of Harold. Poor thing, can you imagine? Claire ignored them, stepped into the elevator, pressed the button for the 18th floor. She had expected this, had prepared for it. Let them whisper, let them wonder. She would prove herself with work, not words. The 18th floor was quiet, executive territory, corner offices with views, administrative assistants at polished desks, the hushed atmosphere of power and money. Claire's new office was at the end of the hall. Corner position, floor-to-ceiling windows, view of Boston Harbor, a desk that could land a small plane. She stood in the doorway for a moment, taking it in. This was real. This was happening. Impressive, isn't it? Claire turned. A woman was walking toward her. Mid-40s, sharp suit, sharper eyes, silver hair cropped short. I'm Patricia Holbrook, Chief Operations Officer. The woman extended her hand. Welcome to the executive floor, Vice President Morrison. Thank you. Please call me Claire. Claire, then. Patricia's handshake was firm, assessing. I'll be honest with you. Not everyone was pleased about your appointment. Some board members thought it looked like nepotism. Others worried about, baggage. And what did you think? Patricia smiled. It was the smile of a woman who had fought her own battles, climbed her own mountains. I thought that anyone who could survive what you survived and still want to work deserved a chance to prove herself. Patricia nodded toward the office. This is your chance. Don't waste it. She walked away, heels clicking on marble floors. Claire stepped into her office, closed the door, leaned against it for a moment. Then she got to work. The first month was brutal. Learning new systems, meeting new teams, understanding the challenges facing the marketing division. 18-hour days, weekend calls, coffee in quantities that would have horrified every doctor she had ever met. But the work was familiar. Market analysis, brand strategy, campaign development, consumer psychology. The skills she had honed for 15 years came back quickly, like riding a bicycle, like coming home. By February, she had identified the problems. Outdated strategies, siloed teams, lack of innovation. The marketing division had been coasting on reputation for years. It showed. By March, she had a plan. Complete restructuring, new team leads, fresh approaches, bold ideas. The board was skeptical. That's a lot of change, one member said. Very fast. Fast is what we need, Claire replied. The market isn't waiting for us to catch up. Our competitors are already ahead. We need to move now or we'll lose ground we can't recover. Harold stayed silent during the debate. Let Claire defend her own proposal. Let her stand on her own merit. The board approved the restructuring 4 votes to 3. Claire got to work. The spring was chaos. Reorganizing teams, hiring new talent, firing dead weight. Every decision was questioned. Every choice was scrutinized. The whispers got louder before they got quieter. But the results started coming. A new campaign for the company's flagship product went viral. 3 million views in the first week. Media coverage across every major outlet. The kind of organic buzz money couldn't buy. A rebranding initiative for a struggling subsidiary turned its image around. Sales increased 23% in the first quarter after launch. A partnership with a cutting-edge digital agency brought in technology the company had been lacking, putting Weston Industries ahead of competitors who had been leading for years. By summer, the whispers had stopped. By fall, the board was asking Claire for more. The numbers don't lie, Patricia said at the September meeting. She was presenting the quarterly results. Marketing has increased brand engagement by 40% year over year. Consumer sentiment is at an all-time high. Our market share has grown by 7 percentage points. Harold was beaming. He tried to hide it, tried to maintain professional neutrality, but Claire saw it. The pride, the satisfaction, the vindication. After the meeting, he found her in her office. I knew you had it in you, he said. Thank you for believing when I didn't. That's what family does. Harold paused. His expression shifted, became more serious. Speaking of family, I have some news about Derek. Claire's stomach tightened. She hadn't heard Derek's name in months. Hadn't wanted to. What about him? He's found work. Finally. A startup in Cambridge. Something in tech. It's a step down from where he was. Several steps down. But it's honest work. Good for him. He's been trying, from what I hear, attending therapy, working on himself. Harold's voice was careful, measured. I'm not saying he's changed. I'm not saying he deserves anything. I'm just keeping you informed. Claire nodded. I appreciate that. How do you feel about it? About Derek working on himself? Claire considered the question. I feel nothing. I used to think I would be angry forever, that I would carry this rage until I died. But now I just feel tired. Tired of thinking about him, tired of letting him take up space in my head. That's growth. It's survival. Claire looked at the photo on her desk. Eleanor at 9 months, grinning at the camera. I don't have room for anger anymore. I need that space for better things. Harold left. The office was quiet. The harbor glittered in the autumn light. Claire turned back to her computer, back to her work, back to the life she was building. One decision at a time. Eleanor turned 1 in late September. The birthday party was small. Just family, Megan, Dorothy, and Harold, a few friends from Claire's mother and baby group, balloons and streamers, and a cake Eleanor mostly wore instead of ate. Happy birthday, sweetheart, Claire said, holding her daughter, watching her smash frosting into her hair. 1 year old, I can't believe it. Time flies, Dorothy said. She was taking approximately 1 million photographs. Before you know it, she'll be walking, talking, going to school, getting married. Let's not rush things, Claire laughed. I'm still processing that she's not a newborn anymore. Later, after the guests had left and Eleanor was napping off her sugar high, Claire sat in the nursery. Rocking chair, soft light, the sound of her daughter breathing. 1 year ago, she had been in a hospital bed, recovering from hypothermia, wondering if her daughter would survive, wondering if she would survive. Now here she was, healthy, strong, successful, a mother and a vice president and a woman who had rebuilt herself from ruins. The gray cashmere coat hung in her closet still. She hadn't worn it since before the collapse, couldn't bring herself to touch it, but she hadn't thrown it away either. It hung there like a reminder of what she had survived, of what she had lost, of who she had become. Maybe someday she would wear it again. Maybe not. Either way, it was her choice. And that was the difference. That was everything. The first snow of December fell gently on Boston. Claire watched from her office window. 18th floor, corner office. View of the harbor where snowflakes danced and swirled before settling on the gray water. It was beautiful, peaceful. A far cry from the vicious blizzard that had nearly killed her a year ago. You're staring at the snow again. Patricia appeared in the doorway, 2 cups of coffee in her hands. Should I be concerned? No. Claire accepted the coffee, wrapped her hands around the warm cup. Just thinking. About? About how different everything is. A year ago I was, well, you know. Patricia nodded. She did know. Everyone knew. But Patricia had never treated Claire like a victim, had never looked at her with pity or curiosity, just professional respect and occasional friendly ribbing. You've come a long way, Patricia said. The board meeting yesterday, when you presented the expansion proposal, you had them eating out of your hand. It's a good proposal. It's a brilliant proposal, and you sold it brilliantly. Patricia raised her coffee cup in a mock toast. To Claire Morrison, Vice President of the Year, according to everyone who isn't too jealous to admit it. Claire laughed. It felt good, easy, natural. A knock on the door interrupted them. Claire's assistant, Benjamin, peeked in. Miss Morrison, the nanny is here with Eleanor. Send them in. This was their tradition now. Every Thursday, Eleanor came to the office for lunch. 30 minutes of feeding and playing and remembering what mattered. A reminder that success meant nothing without the people you loved. Eleanor was 11 months old now, nearly walking, saying syllables that almost sounded like words, growing faster than Claire could believe. The nanny, a kind woman named Rosa, carried Eleanor into the office. The baby's face lit up when she saw her mother. Mama, Mama. Eleanor reached out, grabbing for Claire. Hello, my love. Claire took her daughter, held her close, breathed in that sweet baby smell that was already fading as Eleanor grew. How's my girl today? She took 3 steps this morning, Rosa said. 3 whole steps before she fell down. She's so close to walking. I can't believe I missed it. I took a video. Rosa pulled out her phone, showed Claire the footage. Eleanor, determined and wobbly, taking 3 miraculous steps before toppling onto a cushion. Claire watched the video 3 times, tears in her eyes, her daughter, walking, growing, becoming a person. Thank you, Rosa, for capturing this. Of course. Rosa smiled. I'll be back in 30 minutes. The office door closed. Claire settled into her chair with Eleanor in her lap. Patricia excused herself quietly, giving them privacy. Claire pulled out the lunch she had packed. Mashed sweet potato, avocado cut into tiny pieces, a bottle of formula. Eleanor grabbed for the avocado immediately, smashed it into her mouth with enthusiastic inaccuracy. You're making a mess, little one. Claire wiped green goo from Eleanor's chin. But I suppose that's your job right now, making messes and looking adorable while doing it. Eleanor babbled in response. Something that might have been agreement, or complaint, or just the joy of having her mother's full attention. They ate together. Claire shared stories from her morning meetings. Eleanor shared incomprehensible observations about life. It was a one-sided conversation, technically, but Claire treasured it anyway. You know what, Eleanor? Claire said. When you were born, I was terrified. Absolutely terrified. I didn't know how I was going to do this alone. Raise you, provide for you, be everything you needed. Eleanor looked up, avocado on her nose, attention fully captured. But here we are, almost a year later. And you know what I've learned? Claire kissed her daughter's forehead. I was never alone. I had Dorothy and Harold. I had Megan. I had Rosa and the doctors and the whole village of people who helped us. And I had you, this perfect, determined, wonderful you, reminding me every day why I kept going. Eleanor grabbed Claire's face, studied her with those serious eyes, then smiled. A big, gummy, beautiful smile. I love you too, sweetheart. The door opened. Dorothy walked in. Her face was composed, but Claire could see something underneath, something serious. Hope I'm not interrupting. Never. Claire waved her in. We were just having lunch. Want to join us? In a moment, Dorothy sat in the chair across from Claire's desk. folded her hands in her lap. I have news, and I'm not sure how you'll take it. Claire's stomach tightened. What is it? Derek called Harold last night. The name landed like a stone in still water. Derek, the man she had married, the man who had betrayed her, the man she had carefully not thought about for months. What did he want? Claire asked. Her voice was steady, neutral. Forgiveness, redemption, the chance to make amends. Dorothy paused. The usual. What did Harold say? That forgiveness isn't a right, it's a gift. That Derek would have to earn trust the same way everyone else does, by being trustworthy, over time, without guarantee of reward. Claire nodded slowly. It was fair, more than fair, considering everything Derek had done. How do you feel about it? Claire asked. Dorothy was quiet for a long moment. Her eyes moved to Eleanor, who was happily destroying an avocado. Conflicted, deeply conflicted. Tell me. He's my son. Dorothy's voice cracked slightly. I carried him for 9 months, raised him for 35 years, loved him even when he was unlovable. Part of me wants to believe he can change, that the boy I raised is still in there somewhere. And the other part? The other part remembers you in that hospital, Bernard, remembers Eleanor's heartbeat on the monitor, remembers the night I found you in the snow, half frozen, and thought you might die. Dorothy's eyes hardened. That part isn't ready to forgive, may never be. Claire understood. She felt the same conflict, the same tension between mercy and justice, between what was generous and what was safe. There's more, Dorothy continued. Harold and I discussed it. We think Derek should come to Christmas dinner. Claire's breath caught. What? Not as a full return to the family, not as forgiveness, just a chance, a single evening to show he's changed, to prove he's not the man who hurt you. And if he hasn't changed, then it's over, permanently. No more chances, no more contact. Dorothy leaned forward. But Claire, this decision isn't ours to make. It's yours. If you don't want him there, he won't be there. Your comfort matters more than his redemption. Claire sat in silence. Eleanor had fallen asleep in her arms, avocado still smeared on her cheeks. Derek at Christmas, the man who had taken her coat, who had blocked her calls, who had left her to nearly die in the snow, the man who was also Eleanor's father, who might someday want to be part of his daughter's life. Let me think about it, Claire said. Dorothy nodded. Take all the time you need. Claire thought about it for 2 weeks. She talked to Megan, who was adamantly against it. He doesn't deserve to sit at the same table as you. After what he did, no way. She talked to her therapist, who asked careful questions. What would having him there mean for you? What would it cost you? What might you gain? She talked to Harold, who was characteristically blunt. I don't trust my son, but I love him. Those two things can exist together. Whatever you decide, I'll support it. She sat with Eleanor every night after bedtime, watching her daughter sleep, thinking about the future. Eleanor would grow up knowing her father had abandoned them, knowing he had chosen another woman over her mother, knowing he had been cruel and selfish and unworthy of trust. But she would also grow up knowing that people could change, that mistakes weren't always permanent, that redemption was possible, even for those who had fallen far. What kind of mother did Claire want to be? The kind who held grudges forever? Or the kind who modeled grace and growth? She made her decision on December 20th. He can come, she told Dorothy, but I have conditions. Name them. He doesn't get to be alone with Eleanor, not for a second. He doesn't get to hold her unless I say it's okay. And if he says one word, one single word, that blames me or minimizes what he did, he's out. Immediately. No second chances. Dorothy nodded. I'll make sure he understands. And Dorothy? Yes? Thank you for asking me, for giving me the choice. Claire paused. For treating me like family. Dorothy's eyes filled with tears. You are family, Claire. You always were. I just couldn't see it before. Christmas arrived in a flurry of preparations. The Weston family home was transformed. A tree in the foyer that reached the ceiling. Lights on every surface. The smell of pine and cinnamon and Dorothy's famous hot chocolate. Claire dressed Eleanor in a red velvet dress, a gift from Dorothy, impractical but adorable. The baby kept trying to eat the fabric. You look beautiful, sweetheart. Claire adjusted the matching headband, like a little Christmas present. Eleanor grabbed the headband, pulled it off, threw it across the room. Or not, Claire laughed. We'll go without the headband. They arrived at the Weston home at 4 p.m. Megan came too, adopted into the family somewhere along the way. She was carrying presents and wearing a sweater that said Merry Whatever in glittering letters. Ready for this? Megan asked, as they walked up the front steps. No, Claire adjusted Eleanor on her hip, but I'm doing it anyway. That's my girl. The door opened. Harold stood there in a ridiculous Santa sweater that Dorothy had bought him decades ago. He looked like a grandfather. He looked like home. Merry Christmas. He kissed Claire's cheek, took Eleanor into his arms. And how's my favorite grandchild? She's your only grandchild, Claire pointed out, which makes her my favorite by default. Harold bounced Eleanor gently. Come in, it's cold out there. The house was warm and bright. A fire crackled in the living room. Christmas music played softly. The table was set for 8 with the family's finest china, and Derek was standing by the fireplace. He looked different, thinner than Claire remembered, older, the polish worn away by a year of consequences. His suit was expensive but not quite fresh, his confidence present but dented. Claire, he stepped forward, stopped, unsure of his welcome. Merry Christmas. Derek. They stood in awkward silence. The fire crackled. Eleanor babbled. Someone shifted their weight. She's gotten so big, Derek said, looking at Eleanor in Harold's arms. The last time I saw her, she was so small. She's 11 months now, almost walking. I saw the video, the one Dorothy sent me, 3 steps. Derek's voice was soft, wondering, I can't believe I missed so much. Claire didn't respond. There was nothing to say. He had missed everything because of choices he had made. Choices with consequences. Dinner was awkward but civil. Harold sat at the head of the table, Dorothy at the other end, Claire and Megan on one side, Derek across from them, Eleanor in her high chair between Claire and Dorothy. They talked about safe things, the weather, the business, the new marketing campaign that was performing beyond expectations. I heard about your promotion, Derek said to Claire, carefully, like he was walking through a minefield. Vice President of Marketing. That's impressive. Thank you. You always were brilliant at that work. I remember the campaigns you showed me when we were dating, the ideas you had. I knew you'd be successful. You told me to step back from my career. Claire's voice was calm, matter of fact. You said being a good wife meant supporting your ambitions first. Silence fell, heavy, uncomfortable. Derek looked down at his plate. I know, I remember. I was wrong. Yes, you were. More silence. Then Dorothy cleared her throat. Who wants more ham? The evening continued, stilted but survivable. After dinner, they moved to the living room for presents. Eleanor received approximately 1,000 gifts, most of which she ignored in favor of playing with the wrapping paper. Derek sat apart from the group, watching, not intruding. Claire could see him looking at Eleanor, at the daughter he had abandoned, at the person she was becoming without him. There was something in his face, not just sadness, something deeper. Regret, maybe, or recognition of what he had lost. At 8 o'clock, Claire announced it was time to go. Eleanor was exhausted, cranky from all the excitement, ready for bed. She was gathering their things when Derek approached. Claire, can I talk to you just for a minute? Megan stepped forward protectively, but Claire shook her head. It's okay. She looked at Derek. What is it? I know I don't deserve anything from you. I know that. What I did. There's no excuse. No explanation that makes it okay. Derek's voice was low, rough. But I wanted to say, I'm sorry, really sorry. Not just for the affair, for all of it. The way I treated you, the things I said, taking your coat and leaving you with nothing. Claire waited. Let him continue. I've been in therapy, twice a week for 8 months now, trying to understand why I'm the way I am. What's broken inside me that let me hurt you so badly? Derek's hands were shaking. I don't have all the answers yet, but I'm working on it. I'm trying to be better. Why are you telling me this? Because you deserve to know, because I owe you honesty at minimum. Derek took a breath. And because, Eleanor. Claire's jaw tightened. What about Eleanor? She's my daughter, and I know I have no rights. I gave those up. I signed them away. But he stopped, struggled to find words. I don't want her to grow up thinking her father never cared, never tried. I want her to know that I loved her, even if I did everything wrong. Claire looked at him, really looked, at the man who had broken her heart, who had left her in the cold, who had destroyed everything they had built. He looked different now, smaller, more human, the arrogance stripped away by months of consequences. She didn't trust him, might never trust him, but Eleanor was his daughter too, and someday Eleanor would want to know about her father, would have questions Claire couldn't answer. Supervised visits, Claire said, once a month at a neutral location, with a social worker present, and you follow every rule, every boundary, without exception. Derek's eyes widened. You're saying yes? I'm saying maybe. Contingent on continued therapy, continued improvement, continued respect for my boundaries. Claire's voice hardened. If you ever, put Eleanor at risk, if you ever prioritize yourself over her, if you ever give me any reason to doubt that you're putting her first, it's over. Permanently. I understand. Do you? Claire stepped closer, held his gaze. Because I'm not doing this for you, Derek. I'm doing this for Eleanor. So she can know her father. So she can make her own judgment someday. But you are not, and never will be, my priority. She is, always. Derek nodded, something wet in his eyes. Thank you, I won't let you down. We'll see. Claire turned, gathered Eleanor, said goodbye to Harold and Dorothy, walked out into the cold December night. The snow was falling again, soft and white and gentle. Nothing like the blizzard that had nearly killed her. She stood on the porch for a moment, breathing the cold air, feeling the quiet. You okay? Megan appeared beside her. I think so. Claire shifted Eleanor to her other hip. I didn't expect to feel, whatever this is. What do you feel? Claire considered the question, searched inside herself for the answer. Free, she said finally. I feel free, not because I forgave him. I'm not sure I have, but because I chose. I made the decision. Not out of anger or fear or revenge, out of what's best for Eleanor, out of what I want our future to look like. That's growth, Megan said. That's serious, legitimate growth. It's survival. Can it be both? Claire smiled, the first genuine smile she had felt in connection with Derek in a very long time. Maybe it can be both. They drove home through the snowy streets. Eleanor slept in her car seat. Christmas lights twinkled in every window. Claire thought about the year behind her. The pain, the betrayal, the collapse in the snow. The hospital room where she had faced the consequences of Derek's choices. And then the recovery, the rebuilding, the career she had reclaimed, the family she had built from the wreckage of the one she had lost. She was not the same woman who had followed her husband through the streets of Boston a year ago. That woman was gone, transformed by fire and ice and the fierce necessity of survival. In her place was someone stronger, wiser, more herself than she had ever been. At home, Claire put Eleanor to bed, sang her a lullaby, watched her daughter's eyes flutter closed. I love you, she whispered, more than anything in this world. And I promise I will always fight for you. I will always protect you. I will always be here. Eleanor slept on, peaceful, safe, loved. Claire walked to her bedroom, opened the closet door. The gray cashmere coat hung there, where it had hung for a year, cleaned and mended, but untouched. She reached out, let her fingers brush the soft fabric. Harold had given her this coat because he wanted her to feel like family. Derek had taken it because he cared only for himself. Dorothy had returned it because some things should be reclaimed. Claire took the coat off the hanger, held it up, looked at the name embroidered inside. Claire Elizabeth Weston. She had kept the name, her married name. Not for Derek, for Eleanor, for the family she still had. Slowly, deliberately, she put on the coat. It still fit, still felt like being wrapped in clouds, still carried memories, some painful, some precious, but it was hers now, reclaimed, redeemed, made new by the choice to wear it again. Claire walked to the window, looked out at the snow falling on the city, at the lights twinkling in the darkness, at the world that kept turning despite everything. The prison door was unlocked the whole time, she said softly, to herself, to the night, to the woman she had been and the woman she had become. I was my own warden, waiting for permission to leave, waiting for Derek to change, waiting for someone to tell me I deserved better. She didn't wait anymore. She had walked through the fire and come out the other side. Not unscathed, not unchanged, but alive, strong, ready. The future stretched before her, unknown, uncertain, full of possibilities, and she was finally ready to meet it. 1 year later, Eleanor Dorothy Weston took her first steps at 11 months. By 2 years old, she was running everywhere, talking in sentences, developing opinions about everything from breakfast food to bedtime stories. More pancakes, she demanded one Saturday morning, syrup on her face, determination in her eyes. You've had 3 already, Claire said, laughing. 4 pancakes. That's not how negotiation works, sweetheart. 5 pancakes. Claire gave her half of one more. Eleanor accepted this compromise with the grace of a tiny dictator. Derek came for his monthly visit that afternoon. He had been consistent, present, respectful, never missing an appointment, never pushing boundaries, following every rule Claire had set. Daddy! Eleanor ran to him, arms outstretched. Claire watched him scoop their daughter up, saw the joy in his face, the love that seemed genuine. She didn't trust him. Not completely, maybe not ever, but she trusted that he was trying, that he showed up, that he loved Eleanor in whatever broken way he was capable of. It was enough, for now. Harold retired from Weston Industries the month Eleanor turned 3. Claire was promoted to Chief Marketing Officer, the first woman to hold the position in the company's history. You've earned this, Harold said. At the announcement party, champagne glasses raised, every bit of it. I had help, Claire replied, looking at Dorothy, at Megan, at the family who had carried her through the darkest year of her life. That's what family does. Claire bought a brownstone in Back Bay, 3 bedrooms, a nursery painted pale yellow, a garden where Eleanor could play, a kitchen where Megan made brunch every Sunday. The gray cashmere coat hung in the front closet now. Claire wore it often, on the coldest days, to important meetings, to Eleanor's first day of preschool. It was just a coat, and it was so much more. Some things could be reclaimed, redeemed, made new. Some things could survive the fire and come out stronger. Some things, some people, could transform their pain into power. On Eleanor's 3rd birthday, Claire stood at the window of her brownstone, watching her daughter play in the snow, building a lopsided snowman with Dorothy and Megan and Harold. She wasn't the woman who had collapsed in a snowbank 3 years ago. She wasn't the woman who had begged Derek to stay, who had measured her worth by his attention. She was someone new, someone forged in the fire of betrayal and the ice of that terrible January night. A mother, a leader, a survivor, a woman who had learned that the prison door was unlocked the whole time. Eleanor laughed. The sound carried through the winter air, pure and bright and full of joy. Claire smiled, put on her coat, walked outside to join her family. The snow was falling gently, soft and white and beautiful, and she was warm. And there she stood, wearing that same gray cashmere coat. Not because she had to, because she chose to. Some things can be broken beyond repair, and some things can be reclaimed, redeemed, made new. Claire learned that the prison door was unlocked the whole time. She was her own warden, waiting for permission to leave, waiting for someone else to decide her worth. She doesn't wait anymore. If this story moved you, if you felt Claire's pain and cheered for her victory, if you believe that women deserve better than what Derek gave her, then you're exactly who this channel is for. Hit that subscribe button. Join this community of people who believe in second chances and sweet justice. Drop a comment below. Tell me, what would you have done in Claire's shoes? Would you have let Derek come to Christmas dinner? Share this story with someone who needs to hear it today, someone who might be standing at their own prison door, wondering if they're allowed to leave. They are. We all are. Thank you for staying until the end. I'll see you in the next story.